Ladies and gentlemen, Stormwater Management Utility Board on this Wednesday, October 15th. We have an agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today?
I so move.
Second?
Second.
Signified by show of hands, all approve. Motion carries. We have the minutes from August 20th, 25 to approve. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from August 20th, 2025 without any additions or corrections?
I so move.
Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? Thank you. Next on the agenda will be introductions. We will start in the back of the room. Mr. Crowley.
Stormwater, Selling the Cloud, Overboard is Solid Waste and Recycling.
Nate Farrell, City of Beaufort.
Jeff Netzinger, Town of Hilton Head Island.
Van Willis, Town of Port Royal.
Steve Andrews, Unincorporated Beaufort County, Northern.
Ron Buchanan, St. Helena Island and Islands East.
Me, Ed Warner. I don't know. Hilton Head.
Dennis Ross at large.
Patrick Mitchell, representing Ladies Island.
And I'm Mark Feinberg, and I represent unincorporated District 9 in Defusky Island, and is currently chairman. Before we go on, I'd like to welcome our great ex officio members today. Thank you for your attendance, and for the rest of our Stormwater Board in attendance. Before we go to public comment, I would like to remind everyone that you have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak, and we will strictly enforce this timing. When speaking, please address all your comments to myself, the chairman. Avoid any disrespect to the board and the Beaufort County staff members. Profanity will not be tolerated. You will be removed. The board and Beaufort County staff may not wish to answer your questions directly. They're here to listen, as we are, to any comments or complaints or issues you may have. Additionally, one piece of business, Mr. Ed Warner will be leaving the Stormwater Utility Board. We appreciate his service due to his relocating of his residence into Jasper County. Our loss, their gain. He will continue in his position until a replacement is selected and confirmed. At this time, I will open it up to public comment. There will be 2 comment periods, one at the beginning and one at the end. So anyone wishing to have public comment and present themselves, and please identify yourself.
I brought those pictures, but I have more pictures because it was down. I asked Taylor if I could come over, and she had said yes, because I have a lot to cover. I was more emotional last week, I'm more saying this. So would that be all right?
Continue.
Since the county paid Turtle Lane drainage from our lot has been completely cut off, making the county liable for resulting damage. In addition, the county approved a permit to build on this lot despite knowing drainage problems and without requiring an engineered drainage plan. Because of the failure, we determined the now paying the price. There was an engineer who worked with the Carolina Engineering, who previously worked in this area and had extensive discussions with the Stormwater matters. He knows all about the debacle. We also work closely with the former owners of R&D. The entire roadside ditch along Middle Road drains directly into our property in 138 area, collecting runoff for miles in both directions. But there was no proper outfall. When the road was constructed, the county concentrated all flows from our yard along with 138 Middle Road, nowhere for it to go. We asked record, how could the entire area have drained into our yard prior to construction? As the state or county ever granted easement for this stream? Is there any documentation proving an established alcohol system since the road was built? Why was an engineered drainage plan from the county not required for our home? We all request full documentation for any drainage easement related to this property. And if such easement exists, we expect written proof demonstrating that the drainage pattern, 3 gates, are showing the same difference. The county knew, the county failed. A legal wash was paved to block the natural flow of water that used to run towards Middle Road. Now during heavy rains, stormwater that would normally disperse over the natural landscapes, instead came straight down our driveway, creating flooding and erosion issues with the flow. I have given Taylor pictures. When Public Works altered and compromised our property on Meeting Rush, it created a new pathway for water to enter our side yard, turning it into a serious and ongoing problem, began with no overflow. I gave the pictures to Taylor, she's going to do them. We ask that no county or state personnel may enter our property without prior permission. We have no idea who's coming into our property or why. We have no problem you coming in, we just want to know the reason and make sure that our constitutional rights are upheld and that you show ID. For the record, the following officials have visited with our knowledge and consent and each identified themselves properly. Jackson, South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. County Attorney Brian Holbert. Councilman Dave Bartholomew, news anchor Danielle Cobb, newsman Carl Puckett. Each expressed visible shock, concern, and disbelief and were flabbergasted at the conditions they observed. Someone intentionally blocked the pipe under Middle Road, but that didn't stop the water, it just forced it over Middle Road, flooding our property and compromising the berm. Refixing it was not a solution, it was just a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. On August 5th, a fallen tree blocked our road. We called the sheriff who sent Public Works. Their solution, they picked up the tree on August 6th, cut our internet, carved new flood channels straight through our land. Public Works, please fix this mess. This is about our 50th request. Again, I gave the pictures to her.
I'm sorry you're out of time, ma'am.
She said I could go a little longer.
She doesn't rule this, I do. You're out of time, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Someone else is going to finish.
What I would ask is, you asked a lot of questions, right? Since obviously you have them written down, I would request that you provide this board copies of your questions. So
I have them. I have copies for everybody.
and we can attempt to get answers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Timer?
Go for it.
Sweet, thank you, sir. Sabio Farr, 7 Turtle Lane. Stagnant black water isn't just unpleasant, it's dangerous. A Beaufort County resident died from encephalitis. Mosquito control treated accessible yard and confirmed unreachable property needs immediate aerial treatment to reach all the affected areas. Your board must show competence. Right now, it shows denial, delay, defensiveness. Choose members for expertise, commitment, integrity, not status or popularity. Overextended workers cannot do the job. It is quality over quantity. Unsafe water and flooding threaten lives. We are on day 87 and our black water has been 24 to 44 inches, water covering over 3 acres. This is a disgrace and negligent. Negligence has consequences. We demand immediate action. Repair the existing drainage. Create drainage by making a swale or something comparable. Make some change of outflow that Beaufort County never provided. Install a lift, basically a full engineered draining plan. Have a structural engineer come and check our foundation for structural damage since it has been underwater for so long. Compensate us for all the damage. All construction at 138 Middle Road and 9 Turtle Lane must not happen until this crisis is resolved and a fully engineered drainage plan, approved, transparent, and enforceable before the first shovel hits the ground. If you cannot fix it, buy us out. Cover relocation, legal costs. We want to buy a home with comparable square footage and land. Cover overage on a 2.2 interest rate. We deserve not to live in the squalor that Beaufort County created. We request a written response detailing your intentions and concrete actionable plan to address this issue. We would like to be updated at least once a week. General ideas or verbal assurances are no longer sufficient. Thank you.
Any other public comment at this time? Obviously, there's a lot going on in your area, right? We take our job seriously. We're here, right, to hear your comments, to hear your issues, and then to have them addressed by the appropriate personnel in the county. Trust me, I know you don't want to, but I don't know any other venue that you can go to other than us. We are your ombudsman. We will maybe not give answers to all your questions, but we will try to get answers for most of them. When it comes to remuneration, that's way outside of our jurisdiction. But again, we'll see what the county attorney and staff has to say about it. But you can have knowledge that every community, at least in the 11 years that I have been on this board and 4 years as chairman, I can assure you for those 4 years, we have not ignored anybody who's come before us with an issue. So you are not the first. I'd love to say you are the last, probably not, right? As a matter of fact, I addressed the county council on Monday night, and I basically said that the county stormwater management staff, and I'm going to leave out some of the words, but and its employees have a challenging task in maintaining the extensive roadway ditches and associated areas that are susceptible to flooding. It is evident that much of the development that the county has experienced has exacerbated this condition. Several of the areas that have been recently highlighted are a result of inadequate communication between county, city, and in some cases, South Carolina DOT. Consequently, we are now finding ourselves in a reactive versus a proactive position. So I read that statement and a little bit more to the county council last night. So we are not ignoring anybody's current issues. And as you'll see in the manager's report, when we talk about other areas that we're working actively, whether the county can fix it, whether we need grants from outside and then farm it out to others with more expertise and equipment, we do that. There are several success stories that we've had in the last 12 to 18 months, and hopefully by the end of this, yours will be another success story and not one that's lingering. That's about all I can promise you. No, sorry. Next we have a report section, reports by Dr. Petty or his assistant.
Good afternoon. Ty Petty, Water Quality Lab, USCB. First, sorry, Sally, for not getting our update in on time for this month. Good news is Anna, our lab manager, is back from maternity leave, so we're very happy to have her, and hopefully she can keep me straight from here on out. Monitoring-wise, we're continuing to continue, I guess. We're finished the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter for the county, continuing to do monitoring for the town of Bluffton. Town of Bluffton more recently has been doing more intensive monitoring at a sub-basin scale to identify very specific problems around the May River. So we've been doing more extensive monitoring for them. More recently, this past month, Taylor and Jacob and myself and another employee went out and did site visits for many of the county sites just to try and make sure we are covering what we need to do. Those meetings are still ongoing. I think we still need to talk about potentially adding or changing parameters, but also maybe expanding our sampling site locations too. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Thank you. You have all the staff you need?
We do, well,
You've been ebbing and flowing.
It has been so, and there's back again, which is fantastic. We have I've been lucky in the ability to hire recent USCB grads after they've graduated that have been working with us, and so we have one that has been working with us for about a year, but she's going to head off to grad school, which I'm happy about. It's sad for us. So it has been a little bit of rollover, but in dealing with undergraduate students, that's also how it goes. So we're working on hiring another one or two people too.
Good, good, good news.
Yep.
Thank you. Municipal reports, and glad to have 3 of the municipalities represented here. Anybody will jump in?
Yeah, I'll go first. We wrapped up the West Paris Avenue project. We're getting ready to jump into the villages. And we're also completing our stormwater master plan, obviously identifying all of our infrastructure, including all of our outfalls, developing our capital project list as well as our priorities for all those capital projects. And then we're probably going to be evaluating our fee structure in the next year or so to kind of catch up with where we need to be for capital improvements.
I take it some of the growth was
Well, some of the growth, but it's just an aging system, and obviously.
It reinforced council's decision to make it a priority with the strat plan right now. And we know we need a lot of money to fix a lot of these problems. We're wrapping up phase 2 of our resilience plan over the next 12 months. We did a SWOT analysis we completed last spring, and that pointed to a lot of needs for us to prepare for, higher tides and more intense rainfall and maybe higher water levels at our outfalls. And one of the outcomes of that that's leading to us is to start up a stormwater master plan all over again at our own when we round up. So we've one of the things we've done recently is installed water level monitoring stations in a lagoon system at 9 locations. It's one of the watersheds that struggles and has some pretty serious flooding events when we have the big storms. That and some new weather stations, and we're going to begin to use that information during extreme weather events in our EOC and help the community lower in advance of a storm, but also it's going to give us data to calibrate a model we had Wolford create 12 years ago that we have yet to calibrate. So some exciting things we got going on, but looking at adding a public works department here in the next year or two to help ourselves, because we don't have one right now. So we've been using contractors since the town incorporated in '83. So a lot going on.
good luck.
Thank you.
Most of you know, most of the bigger projects in the city of Beaufort are currently in the downtown area with the waterfront park and the Charles Street drainage project that's coming up. Would advise most people, if you're interested in that, to watch the Waterfront Park Advisory Board that is streamed live on Facebook, as well as you can go to the city's website and go to the capital improvement projects list, and you can see detailed information for each project that's out there, where their status is, whether they're pending funding, construction ready, or they are scheduled to begin construction. So,
Thank you. Again, thank you for attending. At this time, we ask for a maintenance projects report, but I don't see Mr. Carter. Is someone reporting for him?
No, sir. But we do have Ms. Ellen from Clemson Extension, and I would like to give her the opportunity to give her an update on our outreach if she would like to.
Absolutely.
Good to see everybody again. For those who might have forgotten, my name is Ellen Stewart-Coe. I work for Beaufort County Clemson Extension as a water resources agent. I also manage Low Country Stormwater Partners Consortium. And
Do you give advice to Dabo Sweeney too?
No. I stay far away from football. I take no responsibility for that.
Sorry, I had to jump in.
No worries. We've had a pretty excellent fall so far, and it's looking to get even better. So towards the end of September, we had 2 major education weeks. The second to last week of September was Be Septic Safe Week, or Be Septic Smart Week, depending if you're following the EPA or the Low Country Stormwater Partners. We gave away multiple pieces of information, as well as little informational kits on the LSP Facebook. We also offered a Be Septic Safe workshop at the Bluffton Library. The following week, directly afterwards, was General Stormwater Awareness Week, in which we did a kickoff event. Beaufort County hosted one at Shellring. Unfortunately, was not able to attend, but I hear it was excellent, and Taylor was a very good sport.
Yes, she was dunked several times. I was a witness.
But then Valentina and I partnered on a rain garden maintenance workshop, which actually took place quite close to my office. Near the HRN tax place, there is actually a bioretention cell that we are currently in the process of bringing back to demonstration quality. And luckily, Shrimp Fest with the City of Beaufort. We also did the Barrels and Beer event as a fundraiser for the Beaufort Conservation District, where they were selling rain barrels. Beaufort County assisted me in making a video to actually help teach people how to convert the soda barrels that they get from Coca-Cola into rain barrels for their property. We also have coming up Haunted Hunting Island, so we're going to support Hunting Island and give away some stormwater themed goodies at their trunk or treat event. And then finally, I'll also be presenting at the upcoming Public Works Training Conference at the Buckwater Recreation Center on Halloween, October 31st, as well as presenting at the South Carolina Marine Education Association conference that's happening at Low Country Montessori on November 8th, I believe. And we still have another Main Carolina Yard workshop coming up mid-November and several others, so we're going to end the year strong.
Great, thank you. Sounds like you're busy.
I like saying busy.
As far as liaison report, Councilman Ritz and Councilman Brown are attending a workshop luncheon with the governor, so they send their regrets. They were going to try to make it, but I'm sure they're stuck in traffic somewhere between here and Hilton Head Island. Stormwater utility report, Ms. Brewer.
Good afternoon, Mr. Feinberg and chair members. For the utility update, we're still working on the stormwater utility fee restructure. We are meeting with Mr. Moore sometime in October in preparation to go to the Soloco board in November. We had, if you'll remember, an MS4 meeting a while back to discuss how we should proceed with upper management, and the consensus was to go ahead and let all councils and upper administration know via the Soloco board that we are having issues with the way we do calculate what we call tax run right now. Let them know what the issues are, so that when we do have proposed solutions, they won't be blindsided. They'll already know why we're working. So more to come on that. We'll update you after we present to the Soloco board. For the design manual, we are looking at some edits, amendments, and changes for that. We're kind of basing it off of the changes that Bluffton made. They had 2 public comment periods in which developers, engineers, and the public were encouraged to make comments on the Soloco manual, and they took some of those concerns under advisement and have proposed a new edit of the Soloco manual, which they adopted. So we're kind of trying to stay as close as we can within the intent of the Soloco manual is for it to be a regional design manual. So trying to keep all of the municipalities as similar as possible is very key. Also, we are talking with Hardyville, Port Royal, Jasper County, some other entities about adoption, because we'd really like to make the Soloco manual a regional implemented manual. For the projects report, I'm happy to say that in Alljoy, Seaman Whiteside has completed the collection of survey data and asset inventory. They kind of had to do that in a 2-step process. They went out the first time and were unable to access some of the assets that we have. So our maintenance team went out, performed some maintenance, and they were able to go back out and finish the survey data. So we are...
Was that because there was too much water?
Yes, sir. It was, most of them were underwater for about a month and a half. So we had to wait for things to dry out. There were a couple that needed a little bit of maintenance for them to be able to access. So we helped them out with that. For Bay Pines, the 2 big updates there is we've worked with the adjacent community to pick out a fence type and placement. We've spoken with a good number of the community members who are in favor of where we are placing the fence. There was discussions going back and forth about privacy, So we're trying to do our best to replace a sense of that privacy by extending the fence longer than the doctor wanted to. But that seems to be acceptable to the residents. So we're moving forward with that.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Is Tide Point on board with that?
Yes, sir. And they've agreed to pay the difference because they did want a taller fence for their first side. They've been notified of what that price difference is. They didn't seem phased, and then Gray Bar is issuing them a separate PO to keep the financials
Just want to
in
get
line.
that on the record. Thank you.
Yes, sir. For Shell Point, in looking at the maintenance shelves that need to be cleared for the big maintenance shelf bid project, some of them are very tight. They would require sheds to come down, fences. We'd be clearing upwards of half of people's backyards for our easements. So I've asked that we take a ride along and go look and see. I want to kind of make a cost benefit analysis between how much drainage are we actually going to improve versus how much we're taking down and what we're disrupting. So I just want to make sure that when we go through and clear these maintenance shelves, that it's in the best interest of not only the drainage system but the homeowners as well. I've had a couple express concerns about the amount of clearing that would go on. So we're going to go through shelf by shelf and do an analysis of should the entire shelf be cleared. Maybe we can do a couple feet around the ditch, or just to make sure that we're not disrupting too much.
Who is we?
Bradley and I are going to take the
Just
initial
in-house.
drive
Okay.
around.
I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
know if you met with
No, sir.
engineers or.
We may end up doing some of that work in-house. If it's
Gotcha.
sanitary, some of that stuff we may end up doing in-house.
That's, yeah, that makes sense.
It was just to be clear, this was a massive project. It's 13 maintenance shelves individually that runs together as an entire system. And when it was originally bid, it came back at $950,000. And like I said, we were going to have to, it's very disruptive with moving sheds, people's fences, pools, patios, things like that would be in the line of disturbance. So we really want to be mindful of what we're taking up versus what benefit of drainage we're going to get. For rivers.
Before
and-
you move on.
Yes, sir.
Are we still doing work through J. Bragg?
Yes, sir. They have been given the task of the design for the pond behind Food Lion as well as the outfall at Hamrick Drive.
Have we been able to come up with, or has there been a need to do any type of accounting of the funds that the county has expended so far in relation to the work that they have done?
I know that documents have been requested and staff has turned over those documents. I'm unsure of where that.
Who did they turn them over to, do you know?
I know our legal department requested a copy. I'm not sure who they were giving them to past that.
Okay, is there a way that we can?
I can definitely follow up on that situation and let you know.
I did ask for a forensic accounting of the J. Bragg expenditures, and I have not received any information back concerning that, so if you would follow up, I would appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right. Any more questions on that one? All right.
Well,
for-
it's my, before we go on, it
Yes,
was my
sir.
understanding that for Shell Point, I may be wrong, but we pulled back a request for $3.X million because a reevaluation said it was going to cost $7 million X dollars. Where are we in that reapplication process for those people?
So the request for the grant went from $3 million to $7 million because that was the total estimate for the project. And they were willing to fully fund that, but our cost match would go up. And since we didn't have budgeted for that in this fiscal year, we couldn't allocate those, what we call the match funds.
Well, I understand Mr. Freilich spoke to that at the last meeting
Yes,
about
sir.
it would have to be read through council 3 times and we'd miss it a deadline for when the application was due. I understand some of that machination. So it's my understanding that someone is now working on a $7 million grant request?
Yes, sir, we do have a new
I
grant.
mean, I'd like to see that in the minutes to show that we haven't ignored Shell Point, because it looks like, if you read this, we've sort of ignored the problem when we're not. And that's,
So is the 7 million, is it gonna be a grant request, or it's just gonna be put in the budget as a project?
We are actually making another grant request, so in further discussions with EMD, if we can prove that we'll have the match funds for that in fiscal year 27, we may be able to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. So we are, our new grants administrator is Ms. Allison Kirby, and she is fantastic if you've not met her. And so not only does she's still pulling for that grant for Shell Point, but she has another grant that she thinks that Shell Point would be applicable for. So if this one doesn't work, we have a backup plan. But worst case scenario, yes, we would fund it out of the stormwater utility fund.
and you said 2027.
Yes, sir. If we can show that we would have.
So between now and 2027, maybe you can bring that young lady to us so she can talk to us about it in person, so all of us don't have to go find her and introduce ourselves to wherever she is?
I can do that, yes, sir.
Yeah, and to refresh my memory, is the part of the 7 million designed too, or will it be designed once the funds get allocated? We'll already have a design for 2027.
The original scope for the 7 million did include design. However, we moved forward with that out of the stormwater utility funds.
Gotcha.
And
So that would be construction. Once it's approved in the budget, it'll be construction in 2027.
Because we've already got the plan.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's correct.
That saves 2 years.
Yes, sir. So
2
we-
more years.
We're working consecutively on the design and
Got
funding
it.
scheme.
That makes sense.
To kind of go along with this, I know we had talked last time we met, and I haven't seen any action on it yet. I know you guys are busier than one on paper hangers. If you're too old or too young to remember what that means, ask your parents and they'll tell you. What have we done as far as reaching out to the Shell Point community and letting them know what's going on, what the plan is? I mean, because it's been going on in Shell Point for 7, 9 years now, and we're still trying to rectify the situation. And I know that the folks that I've talked to that live in that neighborhood are beyond frustration. So what are we trying to do to assuage their concerns going forward without filling them perhaps a bill of goods that we might not be able to fulfill?
Understood. Good question. We were hoping to wait until we had a definitive answer on the grant to have a community meeting. However, because there's been no movement, the consensus is to go ahead and schedule a community meeting. We have 2 for 2 other communities coming up in October, so probably November, December timeframe would be a meeting time for Shell Point.
And I understand that, and I think that's actually a good idea, but in the interim I was always a firm believer that some communication is better than no communication.
Understood.
So has that even been communicated to either the website or anything to let them know that we haven't forgot about you and we've still got a lot of work to do and we're full steam ahead?
No, sir, but I will do that.
I appreciate that.
Yes,
I know
sir.
they would too, as would many of the other communities that are suffering from these issues.
According to Alice Howard, chairperson of county council, she said that I guess they have a very active Facebook and community page, and said that I should go on it and look at it very closely to their concerns. So maybe we can post it there.
I'll inquire about that, yes, sir.
She spoke to me about hosting one of those sessions.
Yes, sir. All right, good. For Rivers End, we have a community meeting scheduled for October 20th. We have the final set of plans from Wolpert. I forgot where we were in that process last time we had a meeting, but we thought the pond was not on a parcel because it's not paying taxes, but then we found out that it actually is owned by 157 people. It says on their plat that they own 1/157th of this pond. So So in order for us to go in and do any work on it, we have to have at least at the minimum an easement. So Ms. Patty, our right-of-way manager, has prepared all of the documents that we need for easements for the pond and plans to have them at the October meeting for us to attempt to get as many signatures as possible, and then we'll be mailing out. The ones that have been out of state have already been mailed out, but anyone that doesn't come to the community meeting will get their papers in the mail. So that's going to be interesting, but we're already working on it. And most of the community members that we've talked to thought that the county already owned the pond, so I don't think that we'll have any fight trying to get an easement to clean it up and make it function properly.
Can the people quick deed it back to the county?
As it's part of their plat with their property, so.
And I've seen plats cut where they can isolate a pond and quick deed it back to an entity. I'm sure our legal department could work on something.
I will definitely ask Ms.
Then
Patty.
the county would own the pond as opposed to 157 individuals. Well, that's the alternate.
Let me know how that works out.
Agree, Hill.
Just to remind you, at Rivers End, what we're doing is we're taking out a failing pipe system and putting in bioswales. So we do have a TMDL at the end of that system for bacteria, so we're hoping to not only fix the failing system, but add water quality benefits with an aesthetic flair. This will be the first Beaufort County stormwater maintained green infrastructure going in Beaufort County, so it's kind of a big deal. We presented on this at a semi-national stormwater organization, and they were very excited. There was a lot of interest. So it involves training our crews to maintain something new and educating our citizens as well. So it's been a great outreach effort as well. For Okatee River Park, if you'll remember, we're doing the pond out there. It's a county land preservation department project. They're turning it into a public park, but the stormwater dam was failing, so we're coming in. It was failing pretty bad, a lot worse than we thought. So we now have a Schnabel is our geotech engineer, and they have completed their report, and we met with capital improvement project staff as well as land preservation staff to get their preferences in keeping with the theme of the park. We're going to have an interesting outfall for the pond that'll include kind of a weir with a boardwalk instead of a simple concrete structure. Ms. Stephanie thought that would go along better with the theme of the park. So we're going to make stormwater aesthetic there, and we'll have some stormwater signage explaining water quality and why it's that way, and hopefully reach some new citizens on stormwater that way.
The question, you have a comment here that the dam has been confirmed not regulated by DES.
Yes, sir.
Is there a question of who
So
regulated it?
Depending
and
on
why?
how big the dam is, how long it is, what's downstream of it, it can be considered regulated by DES, which means it would have more robust design regulations than a non-regulated dam. And then it has to be inspected so often by certified inspectors and be
So-
on their dam registry.
But it didn't get into that, so we don't have to worry about the
Correct.
state.
Yes, sir. So we were able to move forward with design. Less on the permitting side. For Royal Pines, thank you to the citizens that showed up, and we do hear you and understand that there's massive issues out. I've been on site and walked the entire drainage area multiple times. We've had some workshops, if you will, in-house with staff and some experts to try to figure out what the quickest way of offering relief is. We set up a 6-inch pump back in the beginning of September in an attempt to lower the water in the pond behind 6 Turtle Lane. We were hoping that would draw down the water behind 1 and 7 Turtle Lane as well. It's been working on and off. We've kind of adjusted our tactics, if you will. Instead of pumping to a pond across this golf course, if you will. We're pumping straight into the roadside ditch and looking this way, so I know that they know exactly what we're talking about. It's sort of effective. It's helped a little bit, but our main issue that we're fighting is lack of grade out there. The inverts at the 2 pipes behind 1-7 Turtle and the pond that we're pumping into are virtually the same. So it's very hard to move water where it's flat. We are looking into larger scale projects that could possibly lend relief to the area. But as y'all know, it's flat. There's a lack of drainage in some areas, and so it's been tough, but we are not giving up. We're also looking into the feasibility of buyouts. Our legal department has given us an initial, that's not outlawed answer, so they're digging further and to make sure that everything can be buttoned up before we offer that as an official action item.
What I'd like to point out is, in your write-up, it said the old report was found, and I guess the synopsis was, or conclusion was, no viable solutions. Our current stormwater management does not do that. Right? There's always a solution, whether it's affordable, whether it's amenable engineering-wise for the county to invest or for the owners to invest is another story. But there's no such thing as you can't do it. As I like to say, that with enough money and time you can go to the moon. Elon Musk proved that. So there isn't a no, we can't do it. It's whether we can afford to do it and whether it's beneficial. Right? So we are re-examining it. We don't just put it in a file and say closed and ignore you. So I want to thank Taylor for continuing to, and the engineering department to continue to look at this. We have not given up.
And one thing I wanted to add, Mr. Mark, is that we did get SCDOT to come to the table and sit down with us, and we looked at some recommendations that came for upsizing their assets in a report that we had previously done that was finished in 2024. And they have agreed to partner with us for the county and DOT to work together to upsize some of their DOT assets that we believe will help the entire area as well. So we were asked to give a list to them, and we will, and we'll coordinate that going forward. So that also will probably not happen as quick as we would like for it to. It has several major road crossings, but we are going to evaluate those in order of priority.
Can you define assets?
Pipes, most of them are cross-on
pipes,
pipes
cross
under
pipes.
roads.
Upgrading their
Yes, sir, they're
infrastructure,
creating
basically.
choke points in certain areas. You'll have a 24-inch system that goes down to a 15-inch to cross under a road, which obviously water moves, but it doesn't move fast enough. So upsizing some of those assets.
I think that it's acknowledged that the state creates what they think is a solution, and it may be an installation, but they are remiss in following up and examining what's current that goes on underneath their roads. And hopefully the county will keep letting them know where they are having failures, and that's a good news that we have a working group between South Carolina DOT and the county.
When were y'all able to meet, Taylor?
We met in September. I can find you the exact date.
That's okay, I just wanted, it was September.
Yes, sir, we have monthly coordination meetings with them.
And we've already been out there and done roadside, came out on sample.
Yeah.
Our crews actually.
Yeah, I've walked all around the golf course, so.
We're trying to do what we can to help get it on this side.
Yeah.
Also, last week, there was a dip in front of 138 Middle Road in the roadside drainage berm that we filled in to make sure that water doesn't come from the ditch onto private property. Questions or suggestions? Okay. we will continue to look into that situation. As you said, Mr. Mark, we're not giving up. We're hopeful. We have some big plans. For Arthur Horn, this is the restoration of the 17-acre wetland in the Port Royal area. Black & Veatch was selected as the engineering firm for design. They have some very creative ideas that will not only enhance the stormwater flow, but also the habitat of the area and the water quality as well. So procurement is finalizing the scope and fee with Black & Veatch, and then hopefully we'll get a contract issued soon. This one's going to be in kind of a two-phase project. The first phase is going to be promoting water drainage, making sure that the stormwater is functioning properly, and then we're going to come back in and kind of make it an amenity with a boardwalk, signage, and kind of our vision would be mimicking cypress wetlands in Port Royal.
Is that the model?
Yes, sir,
What
kind of.
Van-
We don't want to
what-
steal the
what Van-
thunder
what-
from
What great
cypress
work Van
wetlands.
did in Port Royal is the model for success.
One shovel.
Yes, and there's been talk of interconnectivity to the Spanish Moss Trail and possibly to cypress wetlands. And so as that develops, we'll keep the towns and city involved as well. But that would definitely be a future project because it involves road crossings and extensions of the trail and things like that.
Taylor, how did you procure the contract with Black & Veatch?
We put out an RFQ and we had 10 different responses to that, and then we had a selection committee, and procurement held meetings, and then they were graded, and then procurement issued the potential contract to Black & Veatch. They were rated the highest.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. For our professional contracts update, Wolpert is our current A&E on-call consultant. We got instructions from upper management to kind of mimic what the engineering firm does, and that they have 3 on-call engineering firms. So to aid in the procurement process as well as different specifications. So we are going to mimic their on-call system. We have a current RFQ out now, and it closes, I believe, 10/30. So October 30th it'll close. And then we'll move through with whatever firms have submitted for that. Also, for our staff update, we have a new stormwater business manager. We had over 12 applicants. We started interviews back in August 12th. We have a new selected applicant is Miss Michelle Strader. She's over here if you want to wave. She's an internal transfer from the zoning department, and we are very excited to have her on board and get her trained up in all things financial. So that will be very nice, especially since we're starting fiscal year 27 budget. We had our kickoff meeting last week, so. Any questions?
Speaking of the budget,
Yes, sir.
I have questions, and I know everybody is aware, I got a megabyte mind in a gigabyte world, and there's only so much I can hold on to. With the increases that we're seeing in flooding throughout the county, north, south, or broad, it doesn't matter. And a lot of it has to do with the building and population growth and everything else. And I understand we try and keep the stormwater fees to a minimum. And we've had staffing issues over the years and being able to pay people and be able to have the equipment and everything that we possibly can in the budget. Is it maybe time, and obviously you'll be discussing this with Wolford and then obviously the other budgetary meetings, is it time that we started considering an increase to be able to get more money for the budget to adequately respond to all the issues that people throughout the county are having because we can't get their ditches cleaned out, we can't get this built, we can't get that done, or whatever the county is obviously responsible for. Is that something that's going to be discussed?
Yes, sir. That is a top priority that came from Mr. Moore himself.
Good.
He told us to look at what we're currently operating at, and if we need more, to go ahead and make the requests, and that we would be in discussions with both him and upper administration about new full-time positions or equipment needed to keep up.
I would ask you and Bradley to look at how many linear feet we actually clear in roadside ditches, ones we're responsible for in the county, and knowing that we tell our constituents that we're going to get there every 5 to 7 years, knowing that fact, knowing that we live in an area where there's at least 11 months of growing season, where 5 to 7 years before we get back to a ditch, and then you have all of the other low-lying areas with heavy rainfall, storms to just exacerbate the situation, knowing that we can't even get to all of these places within a 5-year period, it seems illogical to me that we would expect these ditches to be cleared once every 5 to 7 years and not need it for another 5 to 7 years. That information, I think, should be presented to those that are looking to substantiate an increase. We're working on old numbers and old dollars for an area that may have not had the building and improvements, quote unquote, let's just say development that has happened in the last 10 to 15 years in this county. And so the roadside ditches still remain, but they're growing up and they're being filled in. And then we have flooding and we have exacerbated conditions by homeowners with no relief. And I think you can make a case that we need to get there much sooner than every 5 to 7 years. And to do that, we need more funds. It just makes logical sense to me, knowing no one wants to pay more taxes, but at the same time, no one wants water at their front door or back door.
Understood.
And it's not to tag along with what you said, it's not you might meet some resistance from taxpayers who are going to say, well, this isn't going to happen to me. Same people said that at Shell Point 15, 20 years ago. Same people said that in Bay Pines 15, 20 years ago. And now look at where we're at. It's going to be a continuing problem unless we get ahead of it. And the only way to get ahead of it is to increase the amount of work that we have to do to make sure people aren't going to continue to get flooded and have water problems. And unfortunately, it's like we say in the aviation world, no buck driving. You got to have that money. You got to do it somehow. It ain't going to happen by magic.
I will take those concerns into consideration when we're forming our fiscal year 27 budget. All right, Mr. Feinberg, that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any old business?
I got one. I got a Tim Bradley. How we doing on that spreadsheet over Public Works so folks can go online and see where we're at?
Getting ready to go to Smart Sheets, papers, actually, we tried some other stuff, some spreadsheets and all, it didn't work, it was too much traffic. So our facilities management division using Smart Sheets, they come over with some introductions, we're actually going to purchase a license for stormwater and solid waste recycling. So that's what we're going to manage all our projects through Smart Sheets, and then even through inspectors and staff, they'll be able to upload pictures and reports right to that Smart Sheet, and it'll keep the actually live update.
Time frame?
Right now, I think they said we're like 90 days to get the license, just because they're so backed up in IT. So about 90 days out, I think we'll just be able to get the license so we can start. So hopeful first of the year, we'll be able to have something implemented and start moving forward.
Is there a way to do training beforehand so that when it comes?
We're already doing it. Our facilities already come in and to make sure that we want to use it.
Yes.
They've already come in and done that. We've already started it. We've already put the request in for it, so we definitely will.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I did want to note, I didn't put this in our report, but we also have done extensive internal training on BC Connect as far as when, where, and how to comment. We've trained up all of our superintendents and field staff as well. We've gone through a lot of old submissions that have sat stagnant and taken care of them. So there's been a huge push to clean up BC Connect and make sure that we're being responsive as that is our app that we would like to interact with citizens on, so.
I think that's a great idea, but as a lot of folks would say, they've submitted so many things on BC Connect and haven't gotten a response over the years. Everybody just kind of gets screwed, it doesn't work. So it may end up being another PR campaign where you come out and say, we're trying to get on top of this, and it's now going to be better than ever.
Yes, sir.
So
And
that folks will be able to go back to using it.
absolutely, that's 100% the plan, but we wanted to make sure that we were using it efficiently in-house before we advertised it. So
I got you.
making sure we're completing our internal trainings, and then we will have the press campaign.
I'll be more than happy to be a test venue for me. Let me submit my complaints.
Yes, sir.
Under new business, I have something to report, and it's about Spanish Wells, Oak Marsh, all right? And it's a new project for us. I was called out by concerned citizens who got my name from, I guess, a business card or one of the meetings I attended. And I walked the property. This is an example of a state road, Spanish Wells Road, on Hilton Head Island, all right? Again, next picture will show, well, sorry I couldn't arrange them, but if you look, go back, I'll talk to each one. Again, this pipe, when we see it from another angle, will show how it's 50% occluded, needs to be, jetted or whatever they do to clear them out. Again, it's a state project. Hopefully we can get them to pitch in, and so the county resources aren't doing, unless we're getting remunerated, all of the state's responsibilities here. Next slide. This looks like a forest. Believe it or not, there's a drainage ditch in there somewhere. It just shows that it's sort of overgrown, to say the least. Next slide. This is after about a week of no rain. You can see the area still has water in it. It doesn't drain properly. Next. This is Councilman Brown walking on a road that the county did. It doesn't have a convex, it's more concave. It's very low lying, and all the water comes down that street and goes to one small drain that's about 18 inches by 18 inches. Fills up, doesn't drain properly, and the kids kayak there during 2 inches of rain or more. They get a stream to play in, but it's not healthy. As some people here noted, stagnant water is not good for anybody's health. Next. Oh, I'm sorry, I submitted 12, but only, sorry. Well, I apologize that we had a miscue on communications here, but those people, Bradley is aware of it. It's called Oak Marsh. There's a housing development adjacent to it, which is on higher ground that was permitted to be built. In the back of that housing, multi-resident housing development is the right-of-way for drainage. And again, it goes down, water goes downhill and exacerbates the situation in the community right next door that we've seen in a variety of different areas. Again, it's one of those town, county, state coordination efforts that has to be done to remediate the situation to prevent flooding. It's not going to be easy because of where it's located, and good and bad, it's got such a close proximity to the marsh that goes right into Calabogie. It's a difficult situation. So again, it's going to have to take some really unique engineering to try to figure out a fix. But again, it needs to be on our radar as a project if the state or anyone else will take the lead on it. And so I'm letting Stormwater know that call it Oak Marsh / Spanish Wells Road. There's an issue there that we need to look into. I know, Mr. You want to come up? Sure.
Just a little bit of back history on Oak Marsh, Ms. Messinger, I'm sure you know about it. So there was a whole back and forth with this thing for the years. I got history on it from the residents and some past people that work for the county. So apparently this was a county-owned road, and it wasn't a county-owned road, and they took it away from the county, and it was back to the county, and nobody knew who wrote it. So it sat there for a very long time with nobody doing anything. So at some point in time, the county come back in and said, okay, yep, we think this is our road, started paving the side streets, and then they stopped the paving from paving because then it wasn't the county's again. So anyhow, it was a whole back and forth thing. The county owns the road. The drainage is very almost undersized. I don't know what the word is or how the fixing it is, but it's a very unique situation. I mean, there's probably, I don't know, it's 800,000 foot of road that comes straight hill in an inverted street, and it goes to that one drain, like a long stretch of road. So I don't know what the design on that is. Like Mr. Feinberg said, it's a very unique design. To try to redesign this, it's just going to be something to look into. The outfall is, the marsh is a little higher than the outfall, where it outfalls, so the marsh is a little bit higher, so that obviously, backs it up. The critical line is, this far from the end of the pipe. So anyhow, there's a lot of unique situations with this project. I've actually went there and walked it a couple times with a couple of residents myself. And it's just one of those very unique situations that's going to be tough to rectify. So, but just a little bit of background on that.
So for the public's knowledge, that's what we're here to listen, to try to get solutions. Some are easy, some are difficult, right? But they're not ignored. Any other new business? Anybody on the board or ex officios?
I could just add to the for clarity on this Oak Marsh Spanish Wells thing. It's on the town of Hilton Head. The town did permit a subdivision immediately adjacent to it on the west side, and we really had to. It took a lot for us to be able to permit that because of the proximity of that ditch and the way it's difficult to access by the neighborhood. So I'm just saying that it needs to be a joint effort with the county, the town, and the DOT to figure that out. I think would be the best way to move forward.
Thank you. And as I know, we do have a meeting next week with the town to discuss some more drainage projects on Hilton Head. Between the county and the town, will be meeting with Hilton Head next week to discuss some drainage problems and how to kind of work together to figure things out.
Thank you both. Anything else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, Steve.
And this is for Bradley and for Taylor. So, and I don't want to put you on the spot unprepared, so I don't know is an acceptable answer. But the whole conversation, there's a lot of studies going on, and we've got people that are underwater and they want relief. And everything's coming your way. So y'all have been maintaining it, dealing with these complaints for a long time. There's bukus of drainage studies and engineering reports that y'all are ciphering through and trying to figure out what to do. You're pumping water circular because everything's flat, so you're pumping it, and as fast as you pump it, it circles back on you. And what we're missing are clear outfalls. So from y'all's experience, and this is that background for the question, are there identifiable outfalls that could possibly give the folks that are underwater relief? And I get does it physically exist is the question, then maybe concentrate all of the engineering and surveying and legal efforts to get those easements so you could get temporary relief. And that may well be the long-term solution for the outfall. So that's the simple question. Are there outfalls that y'all see that maybe we could put resources to get short-term relief and maybe developing those into permanent solutions?
I know that specifically for Royal Pines, Jared and I and Bradley have sat down and looked at the previous studies, and I think Jared's thought process was maybe we could divide the drainage basin in half and redirect it instead of going the entire area going to one outfall through one pond. Maybe we could split it in half and drain one half of the drainage basin out a different outfall that we have an easement on currently already. And I think that would alleviate, it would definitely drain it faster than it all trying to go through one outfall. But Bradley, did you want to speak to creating new outfalls?
We're definitely, Steve, we're looking at those options. Like I said, we're trying to divide that Royal Pines area. We're trying to look at even kind of splitting it in half, and one half going through the river side and Lucy Creek side. So that's an option. What it's going to cost to get it there, we have no idea yet. So, but we are looking at ways to try to relieve those points to direct it to the outfalls that we have. And in some cases, we don't have proper outfalls. I mean, there are no outfalls. Marsh Hawk, that area on Ladies Island, there's no identified outfalls. They're just very low-lying areas, and there's just nowhere to. I know. I grew up on Ladies Island. I grew up riding dirt bikes. Patrick, I'm sure did too, all over Ladies Island. We used to ride these big holes in dirt bikes, thinking they were fun to ride it. They've been there like that. It was just natural low-lying areas, and there's no good outfall. And there's no put your finger on it.
In this exercise y'all had, as we've been working on Royal Pines, didn't y'all make connection with the landowner where the outfall happens at Lucy Creek and be able, he let y'all come on and kind of open it up some?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the pressure was so much on the boards at the time, we couldn't get the boards out of the riser.
Yeah.
Like you just couldn't get them
And
out.
wasn't
Without
he willing and able to kind of let y'all come
Absolutely.
in?
As soon as that water got down, we can adjust those boards. We have easement on that pond.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is we can drive down the person's driveway, go back there, as long as we identify that we're there, and then they'll let us. It's our pond to maintain, so whatever we need to do, we were trying to lower the level in the pond, but the pond was releasing so much water at the time, it wasn't, even if you pulled one board out, it wasn't gonna lower enough to, water crossing at Sam's Point wasn't that much higher than the water in the pond, so it doesn't make good to pull on a board. I mean, you're not.
Yeah, I mean, it's flowing at Sam's Point now.
Oh, it's rolling.
Yeah,
It's rolling.
yeah.
I mean, it's been nonstop for a
Yeah,
month
it was
now.
stagnant up until this weekend. Now it's kind of releasing again.
DOT made a huge maintenance push down in that area as well.
Well, it looked like it was y'all's, like you
It
were
was
saying,
our
it was
crews
y'all's
working.
crews and DOT's
Yeah.
ditches is what I saw on
That's
a
what
Friday
a lot of that
afternoon.
That was
Yeah.
my point.
Yeah.
We're doing there.
But back to your just we're looking at those options as well. We're trying to figure out what outfalls we can use that we have, if we can improve them, and focus on those outfalls. And then there are some areas that we just don't have outfalls.
And to distinguish between, some of it's so flat, there's nowhere for it to go. But then if there are places where you can identify the physical outfall, then I'd like to hear about that. And if y'all needed help getting easements and procuring the right of way, then maybe we could step in as a board and at least endorse that. I know our powers are limited.
Absolutely.
So
And we're getting close on some of that. We're working. Sometimes it's a process, but we're working on some of those too, to work through and acquiring some land and those kinds of things to be able to work through that.
Okay, well, good, thank you.
The only other thing I would add is that it may be possible and we're going to vote next on the 2026 meeting schedule that you all should have received with proposed in your packet. There are a lot of coordination meetings, like the DOT and Taylor's group. Maybe it's possible in 2026 that some of our volunteers here on this board would really like to take part in those and be invited. And although we don't have a vote, just like our ex officio members here would volunteer to attend some of those, so we can get an understanding of how good they are going, or whether they're being blocked, or whether they be whether we can assist. I'll leave it that way, and educate ourselves to what's going on concurrently.
Yes, sir.
Just a thought for 2026. Similar to what Steve was talking about, with his
Yeah.
engineering background.
I would concur with that. So the last time we had conversations, decided to make a presence at council. Thank you to you. You made all, one time I was there in the corner cheering you on. But so there's so many meetings and there's limited amount of time. But if there are the meetings that you think would be most important, if there's meetings that you would like someone backing you up, a second set of eyes and ears, that our presence would benefit y'all, then it would help to dial it into those meetings. And I think we can, collectively, we can find time to get there, one of us or some small group of us. But the offer is to keep us informed, helps us help you.
Yes, sir.
So then if y'all can help us identify where you would like us, where we could best benefit you, then let us know, and we'll try to make it.
Thank you. If we do get through the first preliminary things with Royal Pines, we'll definitely be up for suggestions on a design from any and everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Again, as I mentioned, in your package, you had a proposed 2026 meeting schedule. Does anybody have any conflicts? If none, can I get a motion to approve the 2026 meeting schedule?
Make a motion to approve the meeting schedule as presented.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. There are 3 members of the public here. If you wish to make any more comments, go at it.
I consider us a little bit different than Royal Pines. When our house was built, we have no outflow. We have no outflow. Our house is this deep. His house is all the way almost up to here, up to here. Our house is a mess. We are now afraid to live in our house. We have maggots. We had to pay for exterminators to come 3 times for maggots. Maggots come because something is wrong with the foundation. I need to have somebody come to check our foundation to see if our home is livable. And that is not too much to ask. We've been underwater for so long. How do we know our house is safe? We need a truck to get out of our house. It's just silly. The floorboards of our truck, it was all the way up there, and that's how I got to work every day. We can't drive our cars. I need someone, a structural engineer from the county, to make sure our house is livable. And how would you like to walk into your beautiful home that you worked so hard for to see maggots?
I don't have an answer for you, but we'll find out who can come and inspect your house. I don't know if it's in Stormwater's purview, but we'll find out who should or could. I can tell you that, again, if you look on your schedule, well, you didn't see it, but if you heard us talk about Bay Pines, there are houses there that people haven't lived in for several years because of flooding, and FEMA is looking to buy them out. So you wouldn't be the first in this county that has experienced it, and we are working again with the town of Hilton Head and with federal authorities to do what we can for some of the people in Bay Pines. So again, that only came to our knowledge about 24 months ago. Right? Before that, we had no knowledge. For 11 years that I sat on this board, we had no knowledge of any problems in Bay Pines at all. So, like I said earlier, we will do what we can to assist you, right, from our authority. We won't ignore you.
We're not gonna get any help with the cleanup with our stuff that's in our shed that's ruined now. I mean, I can't even garden. All our stuff's in there. Our house looks like Sanford and Son. That's how bad it is.
Thank you. Thank you. We have the next meeting's agenda for December 10th.
Is there any other public comment?
Did you want to speak again, sir?
I just don't know if you're going to answer this, not super far again. When our last time we had this, we found out about an $8 million worth of stormwater fund. Don't know if that fund can be used to fix any of the issues that we have now. And then also I was through word of mouth that there's a $100 million tax fund account still in the county. Can that also be used to help fix a lot of these issues that we have to go through grants to try to get, but yet we have the funds to match the grant? for what is the process to get those funds allocated to either get a quick relief and then use whatever we can to fix the issue long-term, or use the funds to help with Public Works clearing out the roads. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for the good of the county? A next meeting agenda for December 10th, 2 o'clock, will be here. Unless there's a construction company that finishes ahead of time. We'll go on name.
That's a good one.
Couldn't resist.
Any statement there, Mr. Mitchell?
No comment.
Very well.
I'll try to compose myself. Do I hear a motion to approve next meeting agenda for December 10th, 2025?
I move to approve.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Motion carries. At this time, the meeting is adjourned.